And so let's see.
Is the pyramid a theme for you?
No, it actually is. The whole history of the pyramid is, right? Okay. So we're live on YouTube right now.
Right.
So just okay. And but yes, it is funny you should ask, as it sits right there, the pyramid symbolized on this table that there's four sides. So there's there's four different ways to the top. Your way isn't the only way to the top. And that's what it symbolizes right there. And it's with 1 hour, right?
Mm-hmm. 1 hour.
Okay.
Johnny Mathis.
Okay, let's do this. Oh, it did it. I can't believe it. Okay, all right. And so now we're going to go live. So when you hear the music playing, we'll be live on Facebook Live. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Give a couple people time to come on. Okay. Live there. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back, or welcome to Ear to the Ground 197. If you didn't see the prior segment with 14A candidate for judge, Bryan Armstrong. But we're in the studios this morning with Ariane Slay, candidate for 22nd District Court. Circuit Court. I'm sorry. Yeah, let me get on that on circuit. But anyway, when Ariane came in, I have a poster board right behind her. We're going to get this right here. And it says the exact same thing as this one does right here. Ipsy Can I Share? And it's a voter empowerment card board. And what we've done is with Ipsy Can I Share, along with League of Women Voters, you can see that down in the corner right there. On this, Ariane, I don't know if you had the opportunity to look at the whole thing, but I'm going to turn it around for my viewers right here just for a second. I don't know if you had the opportunity to look at the whole thing, okay? And like I said, Ariane brought this to my attention because I haven't been showing it on the last show, so we're just gonna start out right here, okay? Ipsy Can I Share voter empowerment cards. And we've got 4 cards on here, okay? As you can see, for Ypsilanti Township, City of Ypsilanti, Superior Township, Pittsfield Township, and it has all of the elected officials of those places. Now, the reason why we did that, and you can see down here, we even have the state representative, county commissioners, and what we don't have on here at this time is the judges in the areas. Right. Okay, all right. Hopefully we can get your name, on the new ones, anyway. But anyway, what we found out with Ipsy Can I Share, and maybe we'll just leave this up here. I don't know, it may look tacky and everything, but we're gonna leave this up here. Is that Ypsilanti is comprised of obviously these 4 communities. And when people think of Ypsilanti, when you go for legislation, the first place people think is what? Go downtown to City Hall, right? And they think that the mayor, our current mayor, Mayor Richardson, is the mayor of Pittsfield Township, the mayor of Superior Township, and and the mayor of Ypsilanti Township. Right. So when you say Ypsilanti, you're thinking of Ypsilanti Police Department, Ypsilanti Fire Departments. Mm-hmm. We found out a lot of people actually don't know where they live at. and where to go to vote for, and more importantly, who to go to when you have problems.
Right.
So Ipsy Can I Share, along with League of Women Voters, created each one of these empowerment cards. And these I have everything down there with the phone numbers and everything. And that was created by Gail Summerhill, good friend of ours, we all know, and everything like that. Okay. So I'm glad that you've seen that when you came into the studio so that we can bring this in attention again.
Well, I mean, it's about transparency, right?
Yeah.
Like if you don't know who your elected
You don't
leaders
know.
are,
Yeah.
you don't know how to voice your concerns or your praise.
Okay.
Because some things might be working for the community and they need to know that too.
Exactly. All right. So we're gonna get right into this. Can I call you on TV? Can I call you Arian?
You can call me.
Okay. All right. Or should I call you Miss Slay, Mrs. Slay, or whatever? Okay.
Arian's fine.
Okay. All right. Okay. So how you doing this morning, Arian?
I'm doing okay.
Okay.
I'm digging fall weather.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's right.
Season.
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So we want to thank you for taking your time out on this Saturday morning, this football morning, you know what I mean, for coming into the studio's ear to the ground 197. But we like everybody first to type into the comment box Y1 and then hit like and then hit share. And the reason why I ask everybody to do that is because the camera that I use over there is a Mevo camera. It doesn't allow me to tag people into the actual recording. So in order to stimulate that algorithm, I ask everybody to hit Y1, like, and then share. And if you watch the program, you know why I ask everybody to hit Y1. Why? Because I believe in Ypsilanti first. Southside Ypsilanti is the center of the known universe for me, and everything else revolves from out of there. So I believe that if Ypsilanti, Southside of Ypsilanti, becomes a better community, uplifting, so does the rest of the known world and universe. That's my philosophy. And you're asking me about my pyramid and stuff like that. There's a lot deep depth going there. You're the first person who noticed these things and actually asked a question about that as to why these things are on here. They're just not haphazardly put on there. And I said, maybe one time I'll go on the show and actually say why these objects, this face, that monkey with his, could get what I mean, the clock right there. That clock right there, and you may know the person, that was made by Lily Mae Carter. Have you heard from Ann Arbor? You know,
I know some Carters from Ann Arbor. A lot of great Carters.
Monica Carter is one of her daughters, Linda Crawford. But Lily Mae Crawford made that for me, and she's visually impaired. And she actually made that clock for me, right? And that's why it sits right there.
What a blessing.
Yeah, it's sitting right there. So anyway, we're going to get right into this, okay? So Arian Slay, candidate for 22nd Circuit Court. I'm gonna leave that right here because you see I got a lot of room right there. We're gonna see this, right? Candidate for 22nd Circuit Court. Now, I'm gonna start off right here. We've never had the opportunity to converse. Right. And when you were running for prosecutor, I said some things, and I stand on them, and I stood on them, and I didn't know you. And coming from out of the office of Bryan Mackey, if you will, seeing the endorsements, that financial endorsements, that from Bryan Mackey to you. And I just talked with Paul Armstrong on my relationship up underneath Bryan Mackey, his office. I didn't have any felonies. I hadn't been in any serious trouble in the law. I was caught with 0.025 of a gram of powder cocaine. And his office tried to sentence me to 5 years in prison for a first-time offender. If it wasn't for our friend, attorney, Judge Elaine Washington, then I would have done those 5 years. So the policies of Bryan Mackey is the reason why primarily I endorsed Ellie Savitt, but the reason why I endorsed Ellie Savitt was because of his policies, principles, and his new programming that he was bringing in there. And so when we did talk 2-3 weeks ago, when you and I were on Fox 2 News with Debbie Dingle, councilperson Debbie Dingle, we were on there, and you talked to me, and I said to you, we've never had the opportunity to talk. Yeah. But I also told you this. See, I'm transparent. I also told you this. I said, one of the reasons why I didn't endorse and support you was on that, but I also said something. What did I say? It's because there was something better for you down the street. Didn't I tell you that? I told you that, and I'm telling you that then, right? So anyway, we have Arian Slay, right, on our show. Tell us a little bit who you are first before we get into this. Who are you? Where you from? What you do? And all that kind of stuff, right? Okay.
I have lived in Washtenaw County for 37 years.
Okay.
I moved here when I was 6 from East Chicago.
Okay.
And I grew up on the south side of Ann Arbor, in Mill Creek, in Stony Brook, and then my mom's still over there on the south side of Ann Arbor now.
Okay.
But I've lived in Ypsi Township since 2004.
Okay.
2004 with my husband Sean. He's a school teacher.
Okay.
At Scarlett.
You know Chuck Slay. Let me ask you. I've been wanting to ask you. Chucky Slay.
That's my brother-in-law.
Okay, right. Check. I didn't know that. Now you heard my song, right? I'm gonna hit this up right here. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna act like I know you, right? Okay. I didn't know her, so we're gonna act like we know each other, right? I'm gonna go back right here, right? So check this out right here. Dude, dig this.
Did Chucky mix that down for you?
Now check this out, right? He's a producer, right?
Yeah.
I want you to hear the voice, and then we're gonna pause it, right? We're gonna do something different. This is my show. I can do what I want to do, okay? Now check out the voice, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I just want you to hear that for a minute. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
The person singing the song, right? Her name is Alicia Reynolds.
Okay.
Okay. Alicia Thomas Hearns. But Alicia Reynolds.
Okay.
You familiar with the R&B group, The Dramatics?
Yeah.
Okay. That's LJ's niece of The Dramatics. Now.
That's cool.
Chuck right now is producing her album as we speak.
Really?
And I've heard the songs, and Chuck laid it out.
He's
they
so
got
talented.
the stuff that he laid out. You get what I mean? And gave and she brought to me. This stuff is radio ready. It's bad. So you heard that right here. Alicia Reynolds, Chuck Slay. They got some stuff right here, and I'm here to tell you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
He's always got so many projects. He's so talented.
Yeah, he is.
He's
right.
So talented.
Chuck
I tell you, my son really looks up to Uncle Chucky.
Yeah.
They were texting last night. My son he's getting ready to be 10.
Okay.
And he wants to be a jazz pianist.
He
has that musical gene.
Okay.
He has that from his grandma and his Uncle Chuck.
Right. Okay. All right. All right. Let's get to the real business right here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. So you said you've been in Ann Arbor this time and Mill Creek and all that kind of stuff and everything. So, right. Okay. Yeah. Joy Taylor says, shout out to Chuck Slay. Really good guy. Right. Yeah. Do you know Joy? Well, anyway. Okay. So in Mill Creek. Okay. What have you? All right. Okay. Let's go.
Yeah. So I've been, in Ypsi Township since the early 2000s with my husband, and we're just trying to raise our family in a community that is the safest and where we actually have justice.
Okay. All right.
And so we do our own part in our own way, Sean and I, to make sure that our community is one where we're really proud to raise our kids in.
Okay.
So he does that in the schools, and I have done mine over the years in the courts.
Okay. So what made you become an attorney? An attorney, and where do you work now? What do you do in the community as far as legality? For folks who don't know you, I know you. That's what I do and follow the stuff, but a lot of these folks don't know. Let's hit them, okay?
So I wanted to be an attorney because of my dad.
Okay.
And I wanted to be specifically, and don't get scared because I know this can be scary to a lot of people. I wanted to be a prosecutor.
That's what now. Okay, now that is what Fawn Armstrong said, and she made her case. So make yours. Why you want to put people in jail? Why you want to prosecute for?
I'm not that type of prosecutor.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, make it plain now. Okay.
So let me tell you that.
Okay.
So part of why I wanted to be an attorney is because of how I choose to serve.
Okay.
Now, when I was growing up, my dad was a police officer.
So was mine.
He was. Where was your dad?
Ypsilanti. Retired. Yep.
My dad hated police work, and he would come home every day and had not great things to say about police culture in general. We were still in Northwest Indiana at the time. My dad was the only Black officer in the entire department. And I'd be like, you should quit. Like, you should get a different job. Like, you know, I was little. I didn't know, like, we still have to eat and everything. Just like, quit your job.
Right.
But my Uncle Bobby, he worked for Greyhound and he was a bus driver and he loved his job. Like, he was seeing America. He was like telling us all these things. He'd send us postcards from all the cities he was in. I was like, you know, Uncle Bobby's happy, Dad. Like, you should like go do what he does. I said, baby, I can't. I have to stay here. And I didn't understand that, you know, as a young child. And he retired after 20 years. And then we moved to Ann Arbor. And when I was 19, I was up at Michigan State and my dad called. He said, we're going to go down to the lowlands of Kentucky. That's where he's from.
Okay.
South of Lexington, between Lexington and Louisville.
Okay.
And he says, we're going to go home. You're going to check on your grandma. She's not doing so good. And look, we really did not go down to Danville ever growing up. Family would come visit us, but we didn't go down there. And so I said, you know, it would be, you know, this is a first for me, right? As a 19-year-old, I'm like, so we're going to go down there. And we get down there, and my dad said, we're going to go to Clifton first. And growing up, I always thought Clifton was a town. You know, like when your parents talk about things,
right.
you have to imagine it because you've never been there. And I got down there, Clifton's actually a road, like one dirt road.
One road, okay.
And it was like everybody in the family's house on that dirt road. And right before he graduated from high school, he lost his dad to lynching. And he and his brother came up on it when it was happening. The coroner's report said that he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but he had 48 bullet holes in him.
Right.
And the Klan down in that area, those were the cops. They didn't wear outfits. They didn't feel like they needed to hide from anybody. They said he died in police custody. And then I finally understood why my dad had to be a cop.
Right.
He needed to be there for the people who would need him, because when he and Uncle Bobby had no one to go to, all they had, their choice was to leave town. They decided after my granddad, Bob Moe, after he passed, they decided to join the service. So they made it down to Louisville. They both joined up, and they were both in Vietnam and Skinny Second. He told me that if you want to make real change, you have to roll up your sleeves and you have to go to places you're unwanted and where your voice needs to be heard and you can be the voice for others. I thought about being a public defender for a long time and doing criminal defense, giving people like a strong advocacy and strong defense. But I realized I could make more change by being a prosecutor, by one, not levying charges that shouldn't be levied on people. Number two, to have that opportunity to correct the wrongs of the police and to stop the trauma maybe before it happened. I knew that the prosecutor came earlier in the cycle, and I wanted to try to eliminate that. And to be honest, there just weren't any Black prosecutors. Right. Like I remember watching Kim Worthy try Malice Green's case. I recall that. Yeah. I was like, that's a Black lady prosecutor. Look at her doing that. You know, and that's where I knew I needed to be. Okay.
You know, we share a lot of parallelism. You were talking about, you know, a lot of people don't know up north, Indiana was the home of the Ku Klux Klan, still right now, one of the most racist areas in this country. But also you were talking about why your father moved here. I'm fifth generation Foley. My great grandfather, Jesse Foley, Jesse James Foley, he actually came here escaping that same thing that you're talking about from Alabama via Arkansas. And he set up roots right here. We're on Adams Street, on North Adams. You go on South Adams Street. We're in the 400 block of North Adams here. But if you go on the 400 block of South Adams here, you will see our family home still standing. My grandfather built that from hand. From right now, still down there, 429. I'll put that out there. But anyway, I'm fifth generation, and currently I believe there's 7 generations, maybe 8 generations of Foleys, right here in Ypsilanti. And that's one of the reasons why that I am so an advocate and protector of not just Ypsilanti, but in particular the south side of Ypsilanti, because of what you just shared, why people came here to build a life. And I'm very protective that our community still stays striving for those families who came here and wanted to build a life. And right now, there's a lot of people who are outside of our community trying to not just change our way and perspective and living conditions, but actually trying to push us out of here. City of Ann Arbor, which was the old West Side. Now they took it over and call it what? Water Hill. You get what I mean? And so we see these things happening right here. So we share a lot of similarities in that area, you know, as far as coming up as why we're here in this particular area right here. So I'm going to ask you, Ariane, we just had a district judge on. What's the difference between a district judge and a circuit judge?
Well, a circuit judge has the, it's actually funny you should say that. Judge Kunke just released what the responsibilities of the new judge are going to be.
Okay.
And I think that's really important for everyone out there to know. So they're going to be handling criminal matters, which is a felony that's punishable by 1 year or more.
Right.
And the friend of the court enforcement hearings, that's child support. They're going to have a very small child custody docket and divorce docket that's moving over from Judge Connors. And then the restraining order docket. So there's not going to be any civil or business court. All those matters have been reassigned. So that's what this new judge C is going to be, how they'll serve in our community.
Okay. Very important. How child support cases. Who will be in the cases of and correct me if I'm wrong, if the arrears are more than $10,000, then it becomes punishable as a felony, right?
Yes.
Has there been any change in child support legislation?
No, not that I know of. I know it changes a little bit in how it's enforced based on who our attorney general is. So those cases are not prosecuted by the Washington County Prosecutor's Office, but the attorney general.
Exactly.
So Washington County can help you establish paternity and parentage, but they are not going to deal with the enforcement.
Okay.
So that's actually Dana Nessel's office.
Right. So that's areas for that, because a lot of people get caught up in unemployment situations, a lot of litigating circumstances dealing with that. But those child support cases, such as though they do become before your bench. Is that correct?
They
okay. All right. And that's the importance. And I was talking to the same thing when I was talking to Carl Barr. And I was talking to Torshio Feaster, and recently as Fawn Armstrong and yourself. First of all, for those of you don't be confused, I endorse and support and endorse Ariane Slay for 22nd Circuit Court judge. And I told you that then, but just know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I'm not one of these people get on my show and say, I got to remain neutral, whoopty whoop whoop. But at the same time, people who come on my show who I maybe a opponent of my candidate, I still offer the seat to them, and I tell them to go ahead and to tell me why I should not vote for my candidate of choice right now, and tell me that. So that's seats available, right? But anyway, I encourage y'all all to vote for Ariane Slay for 22nd District Court, and I want you to. That's why we have her on here today, so that you can hear why she is the best candidate for our area in the 22nd District Court. Okay. Yeah. So child support issues, you know what I'm saying? Let me get on that. And the reason why I say that is because litigating circumstances as they come before the bench. If you're not familiar with the community and the demographics, what's going on, then you might just go ahead and pass sentencing just based upon and not what the letter of the law is, but what the spirit of the law is.
Right.
I could pass the bar. I keep on telling everybody. I watch every article, every episode of Matlock, Law and Order. Okay. Anyway, the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, two different things. So that's the importance of have people who are from our community to not just represent our community, prosecuting our community, defending our community, and also pass judgment. But anyway, go ahead. Okay.
Well, I think it's really important when you take a look, especially when you come to a point of sentencing, when there's been that finding of guilt, is that we are coming up with a resolution in that case that actually is going to benefit the entire community. I believe that jail and prison should be our last resort, and that should be reserved for people who cannot be safe in our community. Now, what I also believe in, which is going to be a little bit of a shift fundamentally from what we have seen, is that we need to be more focused on addressing root causes of justice involvement, as opposed to you've been convicted of this crime, therefore you get this punishment. Not everyone who comes into the justice system comes in for the same reason. So why should we treat everybody the same in that vein? Some people need a lot of help. Some people need a little help. Some people are stronger in some areas and weaker in others. To make sure that we are putting people on a different path, we need to spend more time to figure out what's really going on. Now I will tell you this, and this is a dirty secret of prosecution. So I will share it with you, and I'll share it with anyone who's out there, and I stick to it. It is much easier to convict people of everything they've been charged with than to actually help people and address the root causes of what's going on.
Okay. Say that one more time for clarity.
I will.
Okay.
It is much easier to convict somebody of everything they've been charged with than to actually help them and spend that time. And that was the philosophy I bought. I left the Washington County Prosecutor's Office in 2017. It was not a place that was at the time supporting my vision of what justice reform should be. And I might have stayed a little longer than I probably should have. But I'll tell you, I did it because I knew that in my space, in my docket, with the cases and the people that I was serving, I was doing the right thing. I was doing the right work. I was giving deference. I was trying to address the root causes, and I was showing grace. And I was very afraid that if I left, that wouldn't happen anymore. I didn't know who they would fill my shoes with. And so, but when I had the opportunity to leave to go to the city of Ann Arbor, they gave me the opportunity, complete autonomy in the criminal division. So I could start the diversion programs that I think are really important. And I did, right?
Yeah, and you because you presented one to me.
Yeah,
you sure did, right? Dealing with homelessness.
Yes,
you sure did, right?
Yes,
I'll be contacting you soon.
Good, yes. So I have the diversion program in the city of Ann Arbor, and diversion simply means is that if you have contact with law enforcement, we are going to find a way to help you move past this and not have a criminal conviction in the end. And so almost 85% of the cases, it ranges between 78 and 85% of the cases that I prosecute in the city do not end in a conviction. And I think that's important. I think that's important because when we are addressing the root causes as to why somebody comes before the court, we're less likely to see them back. If you've ever listened to, for those of you out there who want to watch a criminal docket, Monday through Thursday at 1:30, you can watch the criminal dockets on YouTube. Right. And they sound like this. And now it sounds almost like an auctioneer sometimes. You are now sentenced to $1,170, fines and costs, $75, crime victims' rights fee. Don't go to 123 Main Street and don't have contact with, Jim
everything. Right.
And everyone, I have a hard time to believe that everyone sentence should be exactly the same when what brought them there isn't the same. Some people are struggling with substance abuse and mental health and homelessness and the effects of institutional and generational racism in the community. And if we don't take the opportunity to correct that issue, not just from the court system, I'll tell you, the courts, we are so far down the line and where our community has failed by the time you get into the court system. It's tough. It's tough to get out. Like we need to be investing in our preschools. We need to be investing in affordable housing and mental health services. Those are the things we need to be doing from the beginning for families. But by the time you get into the court system, we have to take a real hard look as to how we can actually help you.
Wow. You really gave me a different perspective to the preconceived notion of someone who was working in the former prosecutor's attorney, Bryan Mackey. And to hear that and looking and knowing the policies of Ellie Savitt and Victoria Burton Harris right now, because, and I'm glad you talked about that, systemic racism is very real.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, when you hear about Washtenaw County, you kind of view it as a very liberal city and you think that racism doesn't exist. But the structural of Washtenaw County, the structure of Washtenaw County is one of the most racist ones that is in the state of Michigan. People think that we're up north, as Malcolm say, the southern border begins at Canada. Okay, get what I mean?
Yes.
So it's really refreshing to hear persons such as yourself who recognize it and understand those root causes of why people act out on the way that they do things and see an alternative way of getting restoration or reform as opposed into locking people up. I've seen young men and women having substance abuse issues in possession of, distribution, or whatever. And a lot of people think that drug dealers are these violent people who go around forcing people to use drugs and stuff like that, when you and I both know that the most detrimental and the most damaging drug that there is alcohol. You get what I'm saying? And it's legal to use, but we take a different eye, like Myers Thrifty Acres, Walmart, Kroger's, which sell alcohol. They sell more alcohol, the most dangerous product that there is as far as substance abuse, right? And nobody says nothing. But when you look at the statistics, more families, more death, more injury caused by alcohol than anything else. Yeah. But Pookie and Ray Ray, right? Trying to feed their family, or maybe they just trying to get a pair of Jordans. And I'm just saying those stereotypical things, right? Or maybe they just caught in the culture of drug distribution based upon what they see on, which is most of the time, right? And then the system wants to lock them up. And I've seen them. I've seen kids go into jail. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids go into jail. Babies. And then when those doors close and them handcuffs come on, they revert to that child. And they're actually kids and babies that are in jails and in prison. And then when they come back home, they're more violent and more hateful, more tore down and broke down than they did when the system brought them in.
That's not surprising, right?
No, it's not.
That's not surprising. That's not rocket science. And maybe a little bit by design.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit by design.
A little bit. Go ahead.
No. If we're sending our
by
babies,
design. I like that. Yeah.
If we are sending our
call a spade. Okay.
Into a broken system that does not design them to rehabilitate, to thrive, and to heal, what do you expect when they come home?
Right.
The challenges that they face, and then not investing the money, and really investing the money in helping people when they come home. There's a lot of money to be made in the criminal justice system.
Okay.
Right. $15 calls to the jail.
Right.
Aramark. Hello, Aramark.
Yeah, I'm calling
you on it. I mean, that's a lot of money for not great healthy foods.
Yeah.
Right. The infrastructure of for-profit prisons, the uniforms, the salaries. There are some places up north where like 80% of the community works at the prison. Right. If we don't have our prisons full of somebody,
right,
then how does that help our economy?
Exactly.
There's money to be made in the justice system. And historically, I mean, that was a good thing. Break down the Black family, incarcerate them.
Yeah.
Don't give them services when they come out. It's by design.
Yeah.
It's by design.
Yeah. Gail Summerhill just said Culver showed us in Washtenaw County that racism is very real.
Undeniably,
yeah, exactly.
Undeniably,
you were talking about economies built around, right?
Yeah.
My own personal experience. I was sentenced in federal prison, and because of the not the nature of the crime, but because of the crime that I committed, right? I was sentenced to go to United States Penitentiary, Hazleton. USP Hazleton is the most violent federal prison in the country. USP Hazleton. When I went there because it needed to fill bed space, and this was a level 4, level 5 prison. The next stop for me was to be in Colorado and Florence. You get what I mean? Where you're 23 and a half hours. So this was the level that I was in. USP Hazleton is in Brewster Mills, West Virginia. And they blew the top off of a mountain. You ever hear people talking about blowing off the top of the mountain? And they built this penitentiary high up on a mountain. And what they did was they put the former coal workers to work and converted them and trained them how to be prison guards. So you got these, and I'm trying to say this without being racist in nature, but you got these people who had, in some cases, had never seen a Black person before in West Virginia on a mountain. So you know who lives in West Virginia in a mountain. Now all of a sudden they're giving them batons, guns, and shotguns, and what have sniper rifles, because this is a level 4, level 5 institution, right? But they built a whole economy around locking up, and the people, majority of those people up in there, when I was in there, was probably 80 to 75 to 80% Black that was there at USB Hazel. So I'm glad that you brought out that there's a lot of money to be made in incarcerating people.
Right.
You know, and that prison, school to prison pipeline, that's not a ideology. That's a reality. That's for real. You know what I mean? Because there's money. There's money in locking up Black people. There's money in locking up anybody. But it appears to me that a targeted demographic is people who are racially classified as Black.
Absolutely.
And you can see that here in Washtenaw County. And as Gail has said, that it's really COVID has really exposed and what have you. So you know, I'm glad to hear that these are the policies that you're running on for 22nd Circuit Court. So 22nd Circuit Court encompasses what area, what circuit?
Entire county of Washtenaw.
Okay, all right.
East to west.
Okay.
The entire county.
The entire county.
It's I think, you know, it's important to recognize those things, because I think what we have some new members of the bench who've just been really trying hard, and they've been making moves. They have been deliberate and intentional about diversity. But the thing that I think our court is missing is actually diversity from the bench.
Right.
It's been over a decade since there's been a person of color on the bench in Washtenaw County in the circuit court.
So I'm trying to think who that was.
Judge Wilder.
Yeah, Curtis T. Wilder. Okay, all right, got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Former Justice Wilder. And so I want to bring that perspective to the bench. And I think it's important that, especially knowing that this is a criminal seat, that you are putting a criminal practitioner, and most importantly for our community, a justice reformer. Like, we need to have that from the beginning. And I think this is kind of a perfect fit. I will tell you, if now is the time and it was going to be a all business and transaction docket, and you know, I might not have put in for it, but knowing that it was going to be criminal, knowing that the justice reforms could expand from the bench, and I could bring this perspective. That's why I felt like I could be of best service to our community.
And I think you are. Matter of fact, I know that you are. You know, and I got to be cautious as I advocate and promote, endorse, and support candidates, because I'm a member of a couple of 501c3s. So as you listen to the voice of Ear to the Ground 197, you listen to the voice of one person, and that's Bryan R. Foley, and that's who I speak for from this platform right here. And so that being said, Ariane, how can I and my viewers best get out the information, get out your name, get out your policies, and how can we best support and endorse you? How can we do that?
Thank you. So I need all kinds of help. So we are 45 days from the election. Absentee ballots actually go out next week. So first and foremost, not just for this race, but for every race, you have to vote. We have to get out there and vote. So you know, if you are not registered, get registered. If your neighbor's not registered,
how in the hell somebody in this day and age, I'm just gonna put it out there, who age ain't registered to vote. But anyway, go ahead. All right. I know what you say that, right? Yeah, but it's reality.
There's so many people I come across who feel like their vote just doesn't matter. Like, it's gonna happen how it's gonna happen, and they just let the tides change how they will. But until we work together to share what your concerns are and what your voices are, it won't be heard. So you can't complain if you don't vote.
Right.
So first of all, make sure everybody that you know is registered to vote. You can vote by absentee starting next week.
Okay.
At I think the end of the week, the ballots go out. or in person on November 8th. I like to vote in person.
I do too, right?
You know, and if you could follow on social media, so Ariane Slay for Judge on Facebook is a big one. The same for Twitter handle as well.
Ariane Slay for Judge
Yep.
on Facebook. Okay. And
Yep.
what are those other social media accounts?
So there's also a Twitter account, Slay for Judge. You could visit slayforjudge.com if you want to check out my website with the endorsements and some more stuff on my platform. In addition to that, you know, I always say you can give lots of things during a campaign. You can give your time, which could be as brief or as little as possible. The little one would be go onto the website and click that you would like a yard sign or a window sign.
Okay.
And we'd be happy to drop one off for you, somebody from the campaign team, just to show your support. I have a friend who always says, Ariane, yard signs don't vote. I said, I know, but usually the people who have yard signs do.
Right.
Especially folks, if you're a trusted member in your community and you have a yard sign, that's saying something. That when your neighbors go by, they're walking their dog, they're going out for exercise, they're leaving in the morning, they say, you know what, that my neighbor has some trust enough to, you know, support Ariane, and that means something.
Okay.
If you have more time on your hands, we are knocking doors everywhere in Washtenaw County from now until the campaign. We have hit thousands and thousands of doors. I'm actually going to be on the south side this afternoon. So anyone who wants to knock doors with me and the campaign team, you could reach me at slayforjudge.com, or you could just click on our Facebook and leave us a message as well.
All right. So you've heard from 22nd court candidate Ariane Slay, ear to the ground 197, supports and endorses her 100%. And this isn't based upon this conversation, and this isn't based upon a relationship that we have, because we don't have a relationship. Let me put that on there. This isn't, she's friendly, we're friendly, but this ain't my friend. You get what I'm saying?
We might get there though, Mr. Foley.
Right. What I'm saying, we're gonna get there, but what I mean is there's no, let me make that so clarify. There's no animosity. Sometimes we vote for people because they're our friend.
Right.
Like it's a, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we vote for people because of name recognition, because they my friend. And I've watched that in Washtenaw County go for decades. And we voted for people on name recognition because they were our friend, but we never went and checked the people's receipts.
Always check.
You get what I mean?
Always check.
Demand the receipts. And so, and I've said it before, I said on this show, and I say it again, we didn't check the receipts. We didn't check the policies whatsoever on who the candidate was, what they have done, have they delivered on anything that they promised, or nothing like that. So we voted for people because they were our friend.
Right.
So that's why I made that clarity on there. What I'm saying is that, he just supporting her because because they cool with each other. No, yeah, I had been meaning to ask her this question. Do you know Chuck Slay? That's her brother-in-law, and I had not a clue as to who that was right now today. So that shows you right there. It's her policies, her principles, and her programming from the circuit court bench is why we need persons such as her representing our community, because our community is the one who has been over prosecuted, over sentenced, abused, and are before the judge more than any other demographic in Washtenaw County. And we've been misrepresented and not represented because we haven't had what? Proper qualified representation who understands the demographic of their people, which you just heard that Ariane understands and has articulated on ear to the ground 197. So I'm telling y'all right now, okay, I need to get out and vote for Ariane Slay. Question real quick, and then I'll let you go. Linda Crawford says absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to say this right here. Ask a question. So what is the latest date? Say if I didn't register to vote, can I show up and vote for you on that date?
Same day registration.
Same day registration. Yeah. Okay. All right. Same day registration. So if you're not registered right now, but don't wait till you get there. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to say get your shit together now, but I ain't going to say that right now. I ain't going to say it on my show. Get your stuff together right now, because this is important. Yeah. I've said this before, Ariane, and then I want to give you the final words. I've said this before. We have a 2-year window here in Washington County to get our stuff together. We got a 2-year. Let me stop right here. Gail just blew up my screen. Go to Ipsy Can I Share on Facebook, and you have all the voter information that you need. Gail, share all that information to my page so we can get that back out there. As you can see right here, we have this voter this voter empowerment card and stuff like that, right? We have a 2-year window here in Washington County. We have a 2-year window more so in Ypsilanti right now, that if we don't get our stuff together as a people, and I'm sincere about this, y'all might as well go find somewhere else to live, because you're not going to be able to afford to live in a community that where you may be, as mine, 7 generations deep. And that is because of the policies and the misrepresentation of the people that were in office prior to those that are in here right now. And if we don't get it together and tighten it up right now, you're probably going to have to leave the state of Michigan, because you don't have enough money to afford to live here. And that's real conversation from somebody who's out there engaged and involved. I'm here to tell you straight up and down what's going on. So we got 2 years. That's why we need to vote in Ariane Slay as our circuit court judge, because of the principles, policies, and programs that she's speaking on. And she understands our community, the demographics and the history of this county. And more importantly, because she understands and knows that systemic racism is very real, that gives her the ability to navigate and advocate for the people. With that being said, I'm gonna give you the final word, and then we're gonna get out of here. Okay.
Just thanks for everyone for tuning in today. I'm happy to answer any questions that come up. I will say I'm an open book. I think I appreciate everyone giving me the space. I appreciate Mr. Foley for having me on today. And running for office is more than a notion, but I do it because I'm sincere. I do it because I feel like this is the best way I can serve our community. And I'm just asking for a little bit of grace and a little bit of help in these next 45 days so that we can put ourselves on a different trajectory, especially in the courts. Okay.
You heard that from 22nd Circuit Court candidate Ariane Slay. And is there any kind of way that my voice, ear to the ground, can assist you? The platform is open. This is my platform. There's just 3 rules here, is that we don't do the cancel culture stuff. We don't do child pornography. And I keep the place clean. Other than that, there we are. Those rules right there. That's the only rules I got to, you know what I'm saying? So this voice that you hear, this is my voice. And I'm an advocate for the people. I'm an advocate for the community. With that being said, I know it's football Sunday. Y'all going to the watch them games and stuff like that. I want to appreciate y'all for tuning in. We are waiting on the post-November ballot until it becomes official. That's from Gail Summerhill. She's waiting on that. I know the games are coming on, stuff like that. I got a meeting to go to in a little while. But I want to thank y'all for all tuning in. Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Tracy Sweet Touch Production, as well as Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center. So if you're watching this program and you're not registered to vote, then go get registered to vote. I'm just going to put that on to you right now. And don't think that voting does not matter. As an example, right now, Ellie Savitt, who brought in Victoria Burton Harris. If you haven't seen the change that's going on in the community and thinking that your voting wasn't important, we know.
It is.
And it's important that our demographic get out and vote, right? Because we're going to be the ones most affected by not voting. And that's straight up and down. And I don't want to hear that conversation straight up and down that your vote don't matter and the things is going to be the same. Not here. Because we got real people doing real things who really understand our community. I'm a person who's out in the streets. I'm the one that's in the meetings. And when I go to these meetings, I'm always looking to see who here and what they're advocating. Ariane is out there. So with that being said, as my motto is all the time, ear to the ground 197 is all power to the people. Power to the people. We'll catch y'all next week. All right. Okay. We all set.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. We're still on anyway, but Paul brought me some tomatoes. You ain't bring me no.
I didn't bring you any
You ain't bring me. You ain't bring me
tomatoes.
nothing. Not even first. You ain't bring me nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was okay. I had to pick with you. Okay. So like I said, we're still rolling. But anyway, you know, we can go ahead and go. But the platform is open to you. Everything what I said on. Well, I said it on TV, so you know I'll say it and what have you. So how will you help? Okay.
Thank you for having me on.
Okay. All right. Okay. And we thank you.
Doors.
Okay. All right.
All right. Are you a football fan? You have a team?
FC High School, Eastern Michigan, University of Michigan, Detroit Lions. I'm a hometown guy. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bless you, Mr. Foley.
All right. Okay. I'm Bryan, by the way. My daddy's Mr. Foley. All right.
All right.
Okay. Okay. All right.